Part 2 of this video will cover platoon buffs and debuffs, and separatist character review. The 14 characters that will get a buff for Lightside Geo Territory Battle are listed here. The notable part of the buff is that they will attack with their basic twice when attacking droids with battalion stacks. This means characters like ARC Trooper and Fives is going to hit 4 times on a droid battalion, making each of those characters significantly stronger than they'd first appear. Also, characters that generate turn meter on basic, like Grandmaster Yoda, or already have a double attack, like General Skywalker, are going to be quite powerful as well. Listed here are the ground effect buffs that are affected by platoons. Each of these have a much more significant impact at level 3, so 6/6 on platoons, is going to make each phase of Lightside Geo Territory Battle much more manageable. Listed here is the new formation for ship combats. Based on what I'm reading, the ship combats are going to be out of reach until you can 6/6 platoons. I don't know that for sure, but at level 3, assault formation doubles the damage of your fleet. This leads me to believe that this is going to be very difficult until you can switch to assault formation and basically just blow everything up. I will have another video in this series that are centered around ships, including team comps, enemies, and general assault defensive formations, as this is a new element to ship strategy which will require some time to learn how to use correctly. Listed here are the Separatist buffs, Part 1, that get disabled from platoons. The droid factory is something you want to go at least 4/6 on platoons with. Not summoning the B2 or B1 battle droid command is important, as that removes a lot of debuff potential from the teams. Listed here are the Separatist buffs, Part 2, that get disabled from platoons. These are actually the same buffs we have in Geo Territory Battle, so disabling these are going to be critical to winning in Lightside Geo Territory Battle. Each of these is going to have a significant impact on your ability to control and or win in the Geo Territory Battle fights. If you go 0/6 on any of these platoons, you can expect minimal or no waves to be completed due to the insane difficulty of the enemies having the level 3 buff. Note, there are no ship debuffs for doing platoons, so filling platoons only gives your team buffs. It doesn't make the enemy's teams weaker. The characters listed here, as far as I can tell, have no kit changes for Lightside Geo Territory Battle. The characters I've listed here with the territory buff are going to be really hard to deal with. Each of these characters and teams have a specific counter in arena currently, so we're going to have to hope that we can use the counter teams when fighting these particular comps. Please note, while Django has the same kit, the special mission itself will change your interaction with him. So even though I've included Django on this kit, the special mission, which I'll cover in a later part of this series, is going to change how you deal with him quite a bit. Now let's take a look at 2 small kit changes and a new character. B1 has a change to his stacks. He starts with 60, loses 8 per hit, and gains 3 per turn. This doesn't take into account any other interactions he might have with other characters. You can see that the 2 times use of basics from the Geo heroes I covered at the beginning of this video are going to be important. B1 acts as a healer and damage dealer, so each reduced stacked or removing him completely makes the fight that much easier. B2 also has a change in that he is now a battalion character with stacks. He works a bit different as he has 8 stacks and loses 1 stack per hit. B2 doesn't gain stacks each turn. B2 is one of the scariest units we will face because of the multitude of control mechanics that his kit brings. When dealing with Lightside Geo Territory Battle, I consider him a top priority to kill. Teams with full assists like Clones, Jedi Knight Revan, and General Kenobi with healers are going to be very effective at managing droid stacks. A new battalion unit we have is the B1 Heavy Gunner. B1 Heavy Gunner is all about AoE damage. The scariest part of his kit is his second ability, which is a 2 or 3 hit AoE against your whole team that can't be countered. B1 Heavy Gunner is protected by his passive, in which each time he takes damage, a random B1 ally loses 1 stack instead. This means you must kill off other B1 units first in order to deal with the Heavy Gunner. This makes teams with a bunch of tankiness and relic levels important because there are going to be fights where you simply are going to have to survive long enough to take out the B1s in order to kill the Heavy Gunner. Continuing on, we will look at non-battalion droids and units. Even though we have had B2 in Geo Territory Battle for a while, I wanted to link his kit here as he isn't a character you can review in-game. There is an elite version of B2 that can appear, and he gains crit damage stacking for the battle. B2 Rocket Trooper's elite version will put your team on a timer as he'll eventually get enough damage to effectively one-shot your team. The rest of his kit is the same as what we know, which makes him a potent and scary unit to see on the enemy lineup. BX Series Commando Droid is a new character entirely. His kit definitely warrants him a character you need to control or kill early during the fight. Most notable is the ability to apply offense up on his basic, but the scariest part of his kit is Lunging Strike, which gains bonus % scaling damage based on buffs and debuffs on the character, and also units killed by this attack cannot be revived. This makes units like Grandmaster Yoda especially vulnerable to this, as Grandmaster Yoda usually has a ton of buffs and is the first one to go down early and be revived by something like Jedi Knight Revan's Savior ability. Next up we have 2 new units. Command Battle Droid, which has an elite variant, is one of the first oh crap characters we see. His first 2 abilities bring damage, but it's his passive Viceroy's Orders we have to watch out for. Command Battle Droid brings the ability to add stacks to B1 and B2 during the fight. This means you need to control the fight by either killing Command Battle Droid early or use enough AoE to keep B1 and B2 stacks low. The elite version can call a random ally to assist once per turn, which could be very scary depending on who the other units are. General Kalani is a new unit we haven't seen before, and this is the first unit that I consider a kill at all costs unit. Kalani's basic adds 20 stacks to B1 droids and 2 stacks to B2. This is so crazy, as Kalani can be called to assist by other characters, meaning that Kalani can passively increase the stacks of droids through her assist. On top of her absurd basic, Kalani also brings a revive on her 3rd ability, and a passive that deals 20% more damage for each Galactic Republic enemy. This means you do not want to use Galactic Republic characters where Kalani might appear, as the team she's going to be with will blow you up. General Kalani is one of the scariest units so far. Any wave that she appears in will likely be super difficult and require you to address her first by attempting to outright kill her, or have mega AoE damage that kills off the team around her faster than she can bolster and revive. Now for the last 2 new units that we haven't seen yet, and these are the absolute scariest of the bunch. Sniper Droid is a new Droideka-esque damage unit. The basic and 3rd ability bring typical damage and a huge prod up buff of 100%, but the scariest part of this droid is its passive and 2nd ability. Starting with the passive, this droid can ignore a taunt and passively gains 15% turn meter and 1 stack of charge when each of your units takes a turn. Additionally, if it attacks a target locked unit, it can't be evaded, and those attacks ignore defense. Paired with its basic ability that gives 50% more damage against target-locked enemies, this unit is going to hit really hard. Now for the scariest part of its kit, the 2nd ability. This ability will stun, which can't be resisted, a unit while doing damage. If Sniper Droid has 15 stacks, it will instantly defeat, which can't be evaded, a target unit, which can't be revived. So basically you have to either kill or control Sniper Droid completely in the battle. If it gets 15 stacks, it will instantly kill one of your units and the fight will go south fast. You'll want to be especially careful of its cooldown timing, especially when paired with something like General Kalani, who can revive the Sniper Droid. The last new Separatist droid unit we will see is the T-Series Tactical Droid. T-Series Tactical Droid is definitely, in my opinion, the absolute scariest thing you can see. Its 2nd ability, More on the Way, doubles the stacks of droid battalions for B1 and B2. That alone is scary enough, but its passive makes it even worse. Optimal Positions is a hard counter to AoE damage, as anytime your team uses an AoE, they will do 50% less damage, and any droid battalions don't lose stacks from the AoE. This means you have to use single target damage to kill off lower droid stacks, as any AoE damage you do will be significantly reduced in power and have no effect on droid battalions. You only have two methods to deal with the T-Series tactical droid. You either have to kill it before it can use more on the way, or you have to have enough methods of single target damage and assist to lower stacks of B1 and B2 where more on the way won't be effective. T-Series tactical droid is certainly a unit that's going to require the most specific way to deal with it when approaching these fights. I will have specific videos on the Nexu and Reek at a later point. I don't believe either of these fights will be accessible without at least 4-6 platoons, if not completely filled 6-6 platoons, so these fights will likely be out of reach at the start of Territory Battle for most players. The Geos, Bounty Hunters, and Separatist droid ships are all the same. We have a new addition of the HMP droid gunship. This is a damage and support ship which is likely to cause a lot of issues in normal combat. The rapid fire missile ability lets the ship remove TM against your ships that had protection or stun your ship without protection. Since there are minimal methods of preventing this kind of debuff, controlling or preventing this will be a challenge. Additionally, protective shielding adds 100% protection buff on an ally until the ability is used again, increased by 30% for each stack of overcharge on H&P. This is where that plus 100% damage bonus from platooning is going to come in, as having the ability to punch through this damage shield would be quite a challenge without it. This wraps up my coverage of the platoons, buffs, and debuffs, units, and kits. Next we'll be talking about Phase 1 requirements, units, and what to use for each combat.